alongside ag prices, you had a big move in Deere, for example. Maybe a quick one on that, like a minute or two. Your comments or your take, because that's pretty typical on a short-term move. And these weren't like small moves in corn and wheat in particular. Soybeans, there were huge crashes in the prices, but these droughts and whatnot got these things to move pretty quickly. And Deere had a very high correlation on a 15-day duration to that. So just wanted to just have you talk about that relative to staying with the Deere short quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about doing this for a while is that every single year I've covered ag and farm equipment. At some point, everyone's panicked about droughts, yields, whatever it is. And almost every year that I've covered ag and ag equipment, you've had record yields because technology improves and we've had record years. Most, maybe like 1 out of 3 years, you have a record yield, which is, how productive the corn crop is, like how many bushels per acre. And that is something that is, in the human progress has been a great success story where we get more and more production per acre. So mostly you have record yields. Like if you're just a 1 in 3 shot, you're going to have record yields in any given post World War II year. So every year people freak out about droughts and crop prices. The reality is that isn't very often what ends up driving the actual crop price. Things like policy regarding ethanol have a much greater impact over the last 2 decades. Interest rates, real interest rates, and currency, the factor of imports and exports tend to dominate after that. So the reality is that you mostly don't have weather events in most years have the kind of impact that people worry about with droughts. It is good for, usually a couple week rally or whatever it is, whatever duration that narrative takes hold in many years. And then if you really get into it, if you go back and you look at like Deere's annual reports back, all the way to the Depression or whatever, the idea that, people in emerging markets are going to eat meat, right? They knew that one in the 1950s. They were using that same bull story back then, 1970s, right? They switched from calling it the third world to calling it emerging markets at some point, which is a funny, I guess that's the woke of the time, language transition. Yeah, but the reality is that it is, these are the things that happen every year. There is no more mature industry except for mining that I cover that is than farming and farm equipment, right? These are extremely mature and there are droughts somewhere every year and it rains somewhere else, and mostly yields inexorably march higher and crop prices in real term inexorably march lower.
I asked you for 2 minutes. You just gave 2 minutes of the best tutorial that anybody could give on the subject. That's awesome, right? I'm really at a loss for words, like almost a quarter century into this, how these people like Cramer or these single shot CNBC types know everything about everything with absolutely no teammates and or experience themselves. It's just like, I know what to do with Deere without Jay Van Sciver.
Hey there, Hedgeye Nation, or if you're not part of Hedgeye Nation, thanks for watching Hedgeye on YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure to click on the button below there. Subscribe to our YouTube page. You can also follow the link in the description to our website to get even more great investing content.